I'm joined now by Tyson Slocum. He's director of the Public Citizen Energy Program. Let's start in Xi'an. Pretty remarkable. It's kind of fun to look at a building that looks like this, but then to think about the residual effect, how it can impact things.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you're looking at urban design, you're trying to bring as much of the natural world into an urban environment. And the important thing is that it's not only important for the exterior of the buildings, but also for the interior of the buildings. There's a movement called biolithic design, which is ancient Greek for love of natural things. And it's about bringing the outdoors into the buildings, because Americans spend 90% of their time indoors. And so in terms of what we're looking at architecture, the exterior, putting green design on the exterior of buildings, but also putting it on the interior is what we're seeing a trend in big cities around the world. And it's critically important for the health of communities and for workers in these buildings.
You know, it's interesting, we were seeing the imagery there that Francis brought us in the story, and then about what's going on in Bogota. And then I started looking into this, and Patrick Blanc, this botanist with green hair in Paris, came up with this about 40 years ago. He said when he started this, people thought he was nuts. Now he's doing master classes in Hong Kong. So give me an idea, how much of this is really catching on, do you think?
It's definitely catching on. We're seeing lots of architects in the United States, in Europe, understanding that people are more productive, they're more healthy when there's more green space in their environment. People are hardwired to love nature. And so the more that you can do in an urban environment to reintroduce that into our infrastructure, but particularly it's very important also in the interior of buildings, it makes people far more productive. There's study after study that shows that workers get a lot more done when there's more plants around them, when they've got views of plants, in addition, of course, to the physical benefits of the air purification that some of these plant systems on both the exterior and interior of buildings provide.
It also creates a statement. I mean, you go by that, you see it, suddenly you think about the environment, you think about climate change. I mean, it's a double whammy in a sense, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, everyone wants to see some green space everywhere they go. And so anything that we can do to build that into new construction, into our communities, I think it's going to get people excited. And it also has the attributes of more healthy living because of the air purification attributes.
I recently was involved in some judging of journalism, and one of the stories was about a woman in Arizona who was seeking out shade in the city, looking for a place to sit under the shade and what it did for her. Do you think that there's more reporting on this sort of thing now, and people are probably a lot more cognizant that this is a real issue? I mean, we've got concrete jungles everywhere, don't we?
Right. So anytime that you remove vegetation to build more buildings, you're going to have a greater amount of heat in that area. And so anything you can do to mitigate that by reintroducing plants into the urban environment is going to be hugely beneficial to communities.
One final question before we let you go. I know we're focusing on this, but you can't help but think about the drought in Australia, and we just saw the imagery from China. We see these fires in California. Talk to me about your thoughts about climate change and what we're seeing around the planet and how concerned you are about it.
I'm extremely concerned. I mean, there's no question that the rate at which we are burning fossil fuels across the planet is concentrating carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases in the atmosphere at unprecedented levels, and that's having profound changes to the climate. So anything we can do in terms of more sustainable building materials, introducing more plants into building materials, that's going to be a benefit. So it's something that urban planners need to accelerate in terms of deployment.
Tyson, great to see you. Thanks for coming in. Really appreciate it.